Well, hey guys, Purito has come out with their new sunscreen, Daily Go-To Sunscreen. After all of the scandal and controversy that happened last year with their Centella Green Level sunscreen, they have come out with a new one. In today's video, I'm going to review this for you all, and make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm also going to be reviewing their new Oat In Calming Gel Cream. All right, a little bit of background about the ingredients in this. It is a combination sunscreen, meaning it has a mineral active ingredient to protect from UV rays, as well as some chemical active ingredients to protect from UV rays. It has titanium dioxide, which is a mineral active ingredient. As far as chemical filters, it has Tinosorb S, otherwise known as bimotrizinol, which is a broad spectrum UV filter that protects UVB, UVA1, and UVA2. Uvinol T150, a chemical filter for UVB, and it has Uvinol A+, a chemical filter for UVA1 and UVA2. It's fragrance-free and it has Centella extract in it, as well as a variety of the active anti-inflammatory compounds from Centella. It has madecassoside, asiaticoside, and asiatic acid. And you guys know from my video on Centella, those compounds from Centella, they're anti-inflammatory, they help reduce irritation, they may help in reducing free radical damage from UV exposure, and they can also help with healing. Claims to be SPF 50, it also claims to be PA 4+. Now a PA rating of 4+, that reflects UVA protection. PA ratings are determined on human skin using something called persistent pigment darkening. It is not a universally agreed upon way to assay the amount of UVA protection that a sunscreen product affords, but it is one way to do it. We don't do that here in the US. And a PA rating of 4+ is considered extremely high UVA protection. So that's the ingredients as far as sunscreen protection. That's the inactive ingredients. It's not water resistant. In my experience using it, it's very moisturizing. If you use the Centella Green Level sunscreen that was withdrawn from the market, then this is exactly the same as far as consistency, look, in my experience using it. And while it has titanium dioxide, I'm wearing it currently actually, there is no white cast, no white flash. I use a lot of what I call combination sunscreens, which is what this is, have zinc oxide usually instead of titanium dioxide, plus UVB filters. And they typically do leave a cast. This does not leave that cast typical of a combination sunscreen that I'm used to. Titanium dioxide, as a side note, it also serves as like a thickening and opacifying agent in a product. And when it comes to UV protection from a sunscreen, it boils down to formulation overall, which honestly, I cannot tell you if this sunscreen is as good as it claims to be. We know last year, this particular brand failed as far as retesting. If you're not familiar with the controversy around their prior formulation, basically they had a sunscreen that was really well liked, really well loved, claimed to be SPF 50+. However, when it was independently tested, it was found to have a substantially lower SPF. And while those kinds of things can happen inadvertently, it was also found that a lot of other Korean sunscreens fell under the same issue. It was this complicated fiasco, a lot of finger pointing, where things went wrong. Now, while they have added additional active sunscreen ingredients to this product, I still don't have much confidence in it as far as a sunscreen. Like I said, when I reviewed their older formula that has now been retracted, I think it is a good moisturizer. If you're somebody who stays indoors all day, you're not exposed to the sun, you don't have a lot of windows, I think you might actually like this as an everyday moisturizer. But if you're gonna be outside for any amount of time, I would not suggest relying on this. It's also not water resistant, so it's definitely not a good choice if you are participating in heavy sport outdoors. If you're swimming, if you're at the beach, this is more of an everyday moisturizer that happens to have some sunscreen ingredients in it. And given all of the controversy with this brand last year, I don't have the most confidence. I have my doubts. When this scandal went down, honestly, a lot of it was incredibly confusing to me because it was hard to get reliable information. I don't read Korean, so it was difficult to know where things went wrong. But you guys pointed me to a video that I highly encourage you guys to check out. It's by a creator, Odile Monad. I hope I'm saying that correct. And she is a marketing professional who works with Korean skincare brands. She basically breaks down the regulation of sunscreens in Korea how sunscreen manufacturing works, how ingredients are sort of sourced, and where things can go wrong. It's a very informative video, and thank you guys for pointing it out to me. I will link it down below in the description box. She basically points out how this all went down as far as the distributing and manufacturing of the ingredients, how this could happen, and how basically some of these brands could bypass regulations and scrutiny. And so she lays it out in a way that I can't. I highly encourage you guys to check out her video. But at the end of the video, you know, it's like, well, can we trust Korean sunscreens? Yes. One thing she points out in the video that is interesting is that these brands that are really, you know, popular here, and especially in the US or worldwide, they're not like actually that popular in Korea, I think is what she said. But the main take-home tip that she gave, as far as if you're gonna go with Korean sunscreens, two things to look for. First of all is to choose brands that manufacture in-house. And she specifically called out the LG Group and Amore Pacifica. So those are big, you know, brands with a lot of brands underneath them. And the reason she suggests choosing Korean sunscreens that use in-house manufacturing is that they are under a lot more scrutiny and a lot more regulation, and they have a lot more kind of R&D and resources at their disposal. So they're just basically a lot more reliable. Now in Korea, some of these more indie brands like Purito, it sounds like they're kind of going with kind of more ready-made formulas and things. I don't want to misrepresent what happened, but I do encourage you to check out her video. Anyways, the other tip that she gave is you can actually look, I didn't know this, but on any Korean skincare product that you buy, they're required to list their manufacturer and distributor. And of course it's in Korean, but you can use Google Translate, which is an app you can get on your phone for free to translate what they say, and you can find out who their distributor and manufacturer is. And one thing she pointed out is that not all manufacturers have expertise in sunscreen. So you want to go with a manufacturer that is known for doing sunscreen. It's not to say that other manufacturers that these brands may use are not good or bad, but that's just not sunscreen is not their area of expertise. When it comes to a manufacturer in Korea that she mentioned is well known for high quality sunscreens is Kolmar. Now, Purito, as well as all the brands that fell under scrutiny for having faulty SPF measurements that did not match what they were claiming, all of those brands, including Purito, we're using a manufacturer called Naukos, and so that may have been part of the issue. Now, I noticed, at least on Google Translate, the new manufacturer, they're not using Naukos, at least that's not what it translated into. They're using something called Minu Story. See, I don't know, is that a reputable sunscreen R&D manufacturer? I honestly don't know. Honestly, it kind of makes it a little bit challenging to dig through all the noise to find the reputable brands. And there are a lot of really, really good Korean brands. So at the end of the day, do I have much confidence in this as a sunscreen? No, I really don't. Especially given everything that she shared in that video, plus everything that went down last year. So I wouldn't recommend using this as your sunscreen, but it is good for a moisturizer. And a lot of you guys, you know, maybe you work indoors most of the day, and some of you have even mentioned that you like to wear sunscreen to bed. You might enjoy this product. It is quite good as far as a moisturizer, but I would not recommend it as a sunscreen. For me personally, this doesn't burn or sting around the eyelids either. And so I'm able to tolerate it well around the eyes. A lot of times chemical sunscreens, they burn or sting around the delicate skin of the eyelids. For me, that was not the case. And even sunscreens that are chemical sunscreens that don't burn or sting around the eyelids when you first put them on, for me, one thing I have noticed is that as the day goes on and the sunscreen maybe starts wearing down, breaking down, the substantivity is waning a little bit, it starts to cause my eyes to burn a lot. And I didn't experience that with this whatsoever. So In other words, if you're using it as a moisturizer, I don't think you'll have any problem using it around the delicate skin of the eyelids. Worked really well for me. I don't think it looks greasy or shiny, and it is a nice gel-like formula. It's very moisturizing, but doesn't look shiny or greasy on the skin. It's a good moisturizer. Same thing I said about their old formula that was retracted from the market. My biggest issue and why I have paused with recommending this product as a sunscreen is it's not clear to me if the new manufacturer they have gone with, are they a manufacturer that has a track record of formulating sunscreens? When they announced they were going to be making a new sunscreen, they put out a survey asking consumers what ingredients they wanted in the new sunscreen. I feel as though that distracted from the key issue, which was the manufacturer they were going with was heavily flawed. And while they did change manufacturers, they didn't make any kind of statement or provide any evidence that the new manufacturer they have gone with has a track record of sunscreen ingredient formulation. But since I'm not well versed in all the Korean manufacturers and distributors of ingredients and products, I don't know what else to say other than at this point, I can't recommend this as a sunscreen. I also tried out their new Oat in Calming Gel Cream. Now, you guys know I'm a huge fan of oats and skincare products. And so when I got this, I was like, ooh, an oat moisturizer that has no fragrance. So this should be good. This, long story short, I was very underwhelmed by it. It's very watery. Now, I was thinking, oh, it's going to have colloidal oats or oat flour. The first ingredient is actually oat seed water. Oat seed water is an aqueous solution that is derived from a distillate of the seeds of the oat. So it's not quite the same as colloidal oats or oat flour. Colloidal oats appear on the US pharmacopoeia, and specifically, so it's ground up oats, but the particles, 3% of the total particles cannot exceed 150 micrometers in size, and then no more than 20% of the particles can exceed 75 micrometers in size. So why the heck does that matter? Well, these small particle sizes, basically they create like a barrier, a film on the skin that really helps to reduce transepidermal water loss. Plus, compounds in colloidal oats, not only are they humectants, which help hydrate the top layer of the skin, but they also have anti-inflammatory compounds like avenanthramides that help fight off oxidative stress that would damage and impair the moisture barrier, as well as DNA and skin cells and proteins in the skin. Now, oat seed water, I don't know that that has all of these beneficial compounds in it. And so I think it's a little bit potentially misleading to call this the Oat in Calming Gel Cream, because I think, you know, a lot of consumers have learned a lot about ingredients. People today are not as, you know, people today are a lot more informed about ingredients thanks to the internet. And so a lot more people are looking for products that have oats. If you just pick this up off the shelf, you might think that you're getting something that has those beneficial compounds. But to what extent oat seed water, which is the aqueous distillate from the seeds, has all of those, I'm not really that confident that it does. Part of the benefit from oats and oat flour is that it forms a protective film on the skin. And that's really helpful for people with eczema. I don't think you're getting that in this product. Now, the overall consistency of this is actually pretty watery. It's not moisturizing. It feels more like, I mean, it's got some thickeners in it, so it comes out like a gel cream, but it is pretty runny, as you can see here. And when you put it on the skin, it just kind of feels like a kiss of water on the face. Other ingredients in this product that can be beneficial for the skin, it's got glycerin, which so I just threw it on my mirror. That looks strange. Anyways, it has glycerin in it, a humectant that can help pull hydration into the top layer of the skin. I have a whole video on glycerin, by the way. It also has panthenol, which is good for the moisture barrier and has anti-inflammatory properties. And it has a salt of monoammonium glycyrrhizate, which comes from licorice root and is anti-inflammatory, can help calm down redness. So it has some good ingredients in it, but the consistency overall is very, very watery. So it bills itself kind of as a moisturizer. I mean, it doesn't really say what type of product it is. It just says it's a gel cream. So that kind of makes you think it's a moisturizer, but it's more of a watery serum with some thickeners added. I was not impressed with this. You guys know I love and adore that Aveeno Calm and Restore Oat Gel Moisturizer, and I was really hoping for kind of a similar similar product with this, but it's really not. It's more of a watery, lightweight serum. You still need a moisturizer over it. And given that oats are commonly found in many moisturizers, just go with a moisturizer that has oats in it if you're looking for that. People who will benefit from oats in their moisturizer, people who have dry skin or eczema, rosacea. Post-shave, I think that this would be nice, but it doesn't really have anything in it to really put the brakes on transepidermal water loss. So it's, you know, I don't know, I would think of it, you could think of it as an aftershave. I'm glad I decided to try out the new sunscreen, but I don't recommend it as a sunscreen. It's a good moisturizer, similar to what I said about their last sunscreen. I think it's good as a moisturizer for, you know, days when you're mostly indoors. Let me know in the comments if you plan to try this. I hope to review a few more Korean products. I know I've kind of been slacking on my K-beauty reviews for you guys, but I've got a bunch of products that I've been trying out from Isntree. So stay tuned for that. But if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.